Hey guys, hey, literally, welcome back. Um, welcome back. We're here. I have an abundance of things. I have an abundance of things. Um, yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of things that I want to say. I have a lot of things that I want to talk about, but I'm trying to really honor and respect this space that I set for myself to take it one thing at a time and do these 30-minute episodes instead of these hour-long episodes. So I'm trying to just configure the content that I want to say. The content that I want to say, not the content in general. It's just happening how it's happening because literally baby, I have a full-time job and just do this when I can. But that being said, I'm just trying to structure what I'm saying in a way that is conducive to me having potentially more to share, potentially less to share. That's all. That's all. So I don't know. Anyway, I'm here. I'm here. Hey guys. Hey guys. Welcome. You'll find me on a calm morning, a calm non working morning. A calm non-working morning. And you know what, the fact that there's now non-working mornings versus working mornings. But the thing is, here's my thing, it's not even that I'm all that opposed to having a job, because you hella need jobs to live, and at the end of the day, I want this to be my job, and I want filmmaking to be my job. There are other things that I want to be my job. So it's I understand that I'll have to have a job, and that job is going to be a part of my life. And I want job to be a part of my life. Or I want, actually, because I don't think of it as job. When I think about my life, I think I was listening to, I think I was listening to Caleb on his podcast, So True. And I can't remember what episode this was or when this was, but he just said something about how he doesn't necessarily, he's not in pursuit of a linear career. He wants to be a creative person living a creative life, and that's essentially my vision, my mission, my goal. I just want to be a creative person living a creative life. And it's interesting because recently, with my job, I found that I am turning more and more toward seeking out stimuli when I'm not at work. Because the thing is, when I get to work, I'm, you guys, I'm hella sitting at a desk. When I tell you 8 to 5, sit my ass down 8 a.m., get my ass up 5 p.m., that's literally how that shit goes. Don't know how the people do it. Don't know how the people do it. Don't know how the people have been doing it. But, really, actually, corporate, I already said, y'all God's strongest soldiers for real. And no disrespect to blue collar, because also that's all very essential and very necessary. But something about the corporate office of it all, is always, there's just a different, that is a different level of, I don't even know how to refer to it as. I don't want to say soul crushing, because that's not what it is, but there's just a different energy to all of your work being conducted by sitting at a computer for 8 hours a day. That is just a different type of life. It's just very severance. You know what I mean? Or not even, because again, not that blue collar work is fun, but blue collar work is usually more physical and a little bit more physically active. And so I just think that it's just different. The corporate girls, specifically anybody working in STEM, because I currently work in STEM, if y'all would believe. I currently work in tech, so it's just okay. like we all just, everyone just be at the computer all day long. And, we find like our little pockets and we chit chat and we do our this and we have our water cooler talks. But at the end of the day, the majority of the work is being conducted behind a screen. Well, no, because there's also like a huge physical aspect to not my job, but to like other people's jobs within my company and like within my department. But still, anyway, it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter. Point is, I'm just, I find that now because I'm at my desk most of the day, like when I get home, I'm like, okay, like have to take a walk with some music, have to do this, have to do that. Because I do get, honestly, a lot of like quiet time and silent time at work. Like I've started using my random breaks that I can, I guess, take whenever I want for doing my artist way. Hey, doing the artist way. So shout out me for maintaining that. And also like if you're in a corporate job and you're really trying to pivot into a creative career, I think it's worth being said that finding ways to squeeze those like the creativity and like study and exploration, because I've done a lot of exploration at my job too, because it's like, okay, like I have a period of 2 hours where I'm waiting sometimes just on an email, and there's literally nothing I can do outside of just wait on that email. You know what I mean? Like that's just the nature of the work that I do. And I think that because of that, I'm trying now, and I think again, I would advise this way of, or I would advise this approach for all creatives who are kind of maybe stuck in corporate or like in corporate for now, because I believe in for now as much as the next person. But I think that there's I think that there's something to be said for using that free time to nourish your creativity. And I also think that it honestly genuinely makes the work that you're doing at your desk job, even if you enjoy it, whether you enjoy it or not, if it's not your end game, I think using the time in between for creative exploration is a great approach. And I also just think it'll make you want to be at work more, because then you're like, "Oh my gosh, I'm in a space where I essentially have an hour of library time a day, or like an hour or two of library time at random a day." And it's not, I guess, technically actual library time, but like, for example, last week I was just sitting at my desk and I was reading The Secret History, and there was something in The Secret History about something, it was thoughts on fate or something like that. And I just did a cursory Google search, like a quick Google search, and I was just like, is fate, I forget. I literally think I was just like, is fate like contradictory to, or like the philosophy of faith versus, like, it was something about like fate versus, actually I can't remember, but can't remember. But what I do know is I found this interesting article that was essentially about how fate and, they didn't use these exact words, but psychosis are essentially like intertwined, like the concept of fate and the concept of psychosis, and how avoidant or anxious or whatever like types of people handle and view fate, and how that impacts the way that they interact with like the world around them. It was interesting. It was interesting. I think I talked about it actually last week, and I think I maybe put it in the episode notes, but, or not last week, but last episode. And I maybe put it in the episode notes. But point is, that's just some shit I did on a Tuesday. Like, that's just like some research that I did on a Tuesday. So it does feel kind of concerning that, given the fact that my whole day is now full of stimuli, I'm then getting home and I'm like, okay, and now put on a show, and now put on some music for my walk, and now, so yeah, that's where y'all find me. I'm like, that's where y'all find me, trying to escape because I think it's good that I'm aware of it, because I can take active steps to put distance between myself and that behavior, and I can like make active and intentional decisions to not engage in that behavior. But that being said, I've been engaged in that behavior, so it's fine. It's fine, but we're figuring it out. We're figuring it out. Anyway, hi. Anyway, like, and I hope I'm not ashy. So if I am, just like pretend you didn't see. Like, I don't know. But we're here. There's so many. I have so many thoughts. I have so many thoughts. First things first, though. First things first. Can we literally, you guys, can we literally talk about The Drama? Like, that movie, The Drama, with Zendaya and R. Pattinson? Like, y'all. Oh. It's quiet because I'm speechless because I literally don't know what to say. Now, before I even get into it, just know, actually, spoilers for The Drama, because there is no way to discuss the movie without spoiling the movie. There's no way to discuss it without spoiling it because there's really only one big to do. There's only one big hoorah. Like, there's only one big one that was done, but that one big one was like a big enough gag to kind of just carry. And I know there's discourse and I know there's like different thoughts and opinions about it, and I will get there, but let me just say spoilers. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen The Drama, like, go ahead and cut this shit off now because your experience will be impacted. Like, you really, it's the type of movie that you really, because I went in not knowing anything, and it really is the type of movie that you should go into like not knowing anything. So before seeing The Drama, I was just like, I was curious because I was like, okay, like, what could she have done? There were all of these theories. I hadn't seen any trailers. I hadn't seen no trailers. I ain't seen no teasers. Like, I hadn't seen shite. So I genuinely was like, okay, I don't know what y'all are talking about. I remember uh, like a couple weeks ago, I was talking to some friends about it, and they were like, oh, like, have you seen it? Or like, are you going to see it? Not a couple weeks ago, I guess, because it wasn't out yet, but like last week, they were like, what, like, have you seen it or are you planning on seeing it? And I was like, well, I haven't seen it yet. I'm planning on seeing it. And they were like, yeah, I'm just so curious about how this in the trailer and what this could mean and what this could mean, like what these things in the trailer could mean. And I was like, oh, well, I don't know what y'all talking about. And thank God. Like, and thank God. Like, I don't know what y'all talking about. And I'm so glad that I went into it blind. However, due to the nature of the subject matter, it must be said, that's the type of shit that honestly requires like a trigger warning. I'm not gonna hold y'all. Like, I loved it. I loved it. And I'll talk about why I loved it, but I just want to top line say, like, I did love it. I have a very organized, it's not organized, but I have a list of reasons why I loved it. And I think it was honestly, like, by modern standards, it was just a perfect, kind of a perfect movie. And when I say a perfect movie, here's what I mean by that. Perfect length, wasn't too long. These days, a lot of movies are too effing long. Like, y'all are pissing me and the homegirls off. Let's start there. So it wasn't too long. Stunning performances all around. Great performances all around. Zendaya, Rob, like, I believed that they were soulmates. I believed that they were in love. They did it so well. Gorgeous, like, beautiful. They both somehow in the movie managed to look average enough that like that context and like that whole situation just works. But then also, like, there's an understanding obviously that they're gorgeous, but it's not like your standard hot couple. Like, I think that they both managed to look average in that movie, which I think lent itself further to like the situation and like just the entire thing feeling real. Okay, that's just my opinion though. Because because I was like, yeah, Zendaya is eating, but you know what? I believe her as Emma. Like, I believe her as Emma. She's selling me. Like, she sold me. I'm sold. The where they had me and my feng shui fucked up. And if you don't plan on seeing it, then fabulous. Like, just listen. Honestly, if you don't plan on seeing it and if you're not interested, I'll break it down for you. Basically, you meet this couple, beautiful couple, week before their wedding. They're like planning, they're coordinating. They essentially go out with some friends and they decide to all like share secrets. All right. They're like, we're going to share secrets. Which audacious of you. Like genuinely speaking, not that you shouldn't share secrets with your folks. Like secrets are for sharing, low key amongst, and that's just my belief. Secrets are for sharing amid people that are like trusted. Okay? Cuz I think part of like the fun of a secret is like having like a confidant, just one. Sometimes just one, sometimes one or two. Like this secret though, like Zendaya's secret, hey, she should have kept that shit to herself, to be honest. Like, honestly, seriously, genuinely, she should have kept that shit to herself. So, this group of friends, they go out, they're like trying wedding food and drink and blah, blah, blah. Everybody drunk, they fucked up. They're like, what's the worst thing you've ever done? Oh, I don't even know the worst thing I've ever done. So, let's start there. I can't even think. Now, when I think about my life in like the greater context of, I'm like, girl, I don't know, probably lying about some shit that I had no business lying about. I literally don't know. I couldn't even think of it. But you see, when the worst thing you've ever done is trigger warning gun violence, plan a mass shooting. Oh, oh. So, like, now it's awkward. 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 And that fucked up the feng shui so bad that I was like, I almost was like, I can't. Like, I literally, like, can't sit here. I can't watch this. Like, I can't do this. I think that for me, like, just being someone who lives in America and, like, obviously has, I think a lot of people who live, and actually maybe not a lot of people, maybe this is just me. In my opinion, I do think that because the threat of gun violence is not super far off in the United States, but especially like in Texas where I live, hello, are we kidding? For me, and I know this is the case for a lot of people, that topic is extremely triggering. It just is. Like, it's very, like, that's a hot button, and I'm like, hey, don't ever press that shit ever. Even hearing the mention of gun is literally like, you're disturbing me and my homegirls. Like, you're putting me off. I don't want to be in this conversation no more. Like, it's just like it's clipped, it's chopped, it's cut. Like, it's not funny. It's not. And it, for me, like, that's how it feels, very like threatening. And so the thing that was complicated, and like where my complicated feelings for this movie come into play, are in the fact that like it was so perfect. It was so good. It was so good and it was so perfect. And so like half of the time I was sitting there and I was like, my feng shui is hella fucked up and now I have to go home because I'm anxious and I'm stressed and I'm scared. And then the other half was like, but this is perfect. This is brilliant. This is amazing. Best thing anybody ever did. You know, and it was a literal 50-50 split. Like half of the time, like my brain would shift in and out of that mode. Exhausting, by the way. That's exhausting mentally. My brain would literally shift in and out of fucked up feng shui, not fucked up feng shui. I'm laughing, crying, because it was also just funny as fuck. Like, you guys, it was funny as fuck. Sorry. I hear the discourse. Like, I know people are mad because they're like, blah blah blah. Like I saw someone talk about like Zendaya being cast colorblind. I don't think it was colorblind. I actually think that was very intentional. What are we talking about? Like, yes, like casting a black woman to play someone who was literally like how como se dice, like orchestrating a literal mass crime at her school. Like, oh, oh, but also like the irony of it, and like the fact that like the characters that she was dealing with were all people who were themselves too. One, they were hypocritical, all of them, like all of them were hypocritical. And I think the thing that I appreciated about it was that it felt so blatant, but it was like it was not. I think it was I think in general the point of the movie could almost be easily lost because it's so obvious and because it's so straightforward. Like I think that like it's in the discourse that I've been seeing, there have been a lot of comments about like how her race didn't play any role in it and how like it just should have like been more. And I hear that, but I'm like, to me it seems almost silly. To me it seems almost silly to think that that was like colorblind casting for Zendaya. And it does seem silly to think that race had nothing to do with it. Are you kidding? It almost seems, for me, I'm like, obviously it was intentional that the only black woman in the movie was the one who was like had this like big secret and this big insane thing part of her is as a part of her past. But then also she's the only one in the movie who displays any sort of character transformation and progression, and you literally see it happen in real time, and no one else in the movie has that shit. So it was brilliant because of that. I'm like, it was brilliant because of that. Because like all the people, because obviously when her friends find this out, her very, very tight knit group of friends, it's literally maid of honor, best man, and her husband that she tells this to. She's like, ah ha ha, I almost did a mass crime. LOL. And they all literally like hella spit their drinks out, hella acting super shocked and super like blown away and disturbed. Rightfully so. I don't know what I would have done in that situation either. However, there's something to be said for or just about the fact that like through the movie, like the thing is, and the reason I think like it's because obviously like that's not ever something to gloss over, and I'm rooting myself in the fictional world of this movie as I say this, but it's just like it's very easy to, because even I can admit that if my fiance told me some shite like that, baby, not only is there probably no wedding, I'm having, first of all of my closest friends are going to know immediately. Within 24 hours, 10 people already know. So, shout out Charlie for not saying shit and not airing her shit out, because literally, if it was me though, within 24 hours, I'm telling the ton. Are we kidding? Sorry. Because I'm just in such disbelief. I'm in such shock that, like, I can't keep it to myself. You know what I mean? And I think that the interesting thing about it is that, like, at no point in the movie did I feel like her character was a danger to herself or others after this, like, revelation and after this confession, because, and I think this is an intentional choice, she's the only one who really shows any sort of character progression and accountability. And like, yeah, she's obvious, and she's apologetic, and like she's like, there's obviously a whole thought process. Yes, it was so unserious. Like on in some parts it was so unserious. When I tell y'all that shit was funny as that shit was funny. That shit was funny. Like, no, it was funny. I was laughing out loud. I had my hand over my mouth like this, and I was like choking down the laughter. Like, that's how funny that shit was to me. To me. But again, it was just at some points because it's such a hot button topic and it feels so rooted in reality in my life that it's kind of just like, oh, but ain't shit funny actually. Like, shit is not sweet, shit is scary, and I'm in a movie theater. So now what? Shit is scary and I'm in a movie theater. So yeah, it was very, very interesting. I thought it was very good, but I think that, like, it definitely should have had a trigger warning. Beautiful performances, fabulous performances. The other characters just don't. It's just so, I'm like, it was so intentional. I don't even know how y'all are having the discourse, but I do, because it's controversial. Like, the whole thing is controversial, and like there are like some graphic kind of visuals in it too. But I think that, in my opinion, it comes from a place of deep criticism and like deeply critical thought, which is why when I left, I was like, okay, yes, like now I'm nervous walking to my car, and now I'm nervous going to the gas station, and now I'm nervous going back to my house, and now I'm nervous because that's very real. Like, literally on the way home, I drove through a site where, what, 4 weeks ago, there was a mass event like that, like a mass shooting event like that. So it's like I literally drove straight through on the way home, and my shit was hella white knuckling. I was literally like white knuckle gripping the steering wheel and just like a though, because it's not funny. It's not funny. Just let me make it through the stop sign, please. I beg. Like, God, please, you know? So it's like, I don't know. But also, when we talk about film, like when we talk about film, and this is why I love it. This is why I love it. Also, actually, pause. Pause, 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 pause. Because now that I think about it, I think too, another reason why the discourse is kind of irritating to me and my homegirls is that, like, there's, I think it's the double standard of, like, not for nothing, but we have had movies where there have been like white woman leads engaging in the same category of problematic behavior and in what I would consider to be like a much worse way. And then those movies are seen as like art, fabulous, beautiful, cinema. Like, they're all like, everybody's just like falling over themselves, and like they become instant cult classics. I think that the drama is an instant cult classic. I think it's important. I think it's brilliant. I think it was so well made. I thought it was beautiful, albeit like disturbing. That being said, for example, like, there's this movie that, oh my gosh, and I actually don't even like to think about it because it makes me sick to my stomach, to be honest. But that movie Raw, it came out, I think, like in 2019 or 2018. White lead, white female lead. I think it's like French. She's like French, or like it's a French film. And it is essentially about this girl who is like cannibalizing people. But, but that's brilliant. But that's brilliant, and that's y'all's favorite, and like it's cunt and it's cult and it's classic and it's this and it's that and the third. And I don't know, like, I'll never stop talking about how uneven the standards and like expectations are, and how clear it is when it comes to black women versus everybody else. Like, at the end of the day, it's just y'all, and y'all can pretend that it's not the case or whatever y'all want to, but it's just like, even when it's Zendaya, arguably like octoroon ass, beautiful ass, perfect, 5'11", like weighs 90 pounds, literally like for all intents and purposes the people's princess. She's my people's princess for all intents and purposes. Like she's like I think that even when it's Zendaya, cuz don't oh and also don't let it be a brown or dark-skinned black woman, or they would have had even worse things to say. I don't know. I'm like, y'all are not getting a pass for me to call the drama bad. Sorry. Like, y'all are just not getting a pass for me to call the drama bad, because at the end of the day, it literally was not bad. And yes, like, film opinions are film opinions, and they're all like individual and they're subjective, and like everybody's perspective is unique. But part of my fatigue with the film community and like the not only the community that critiques film, but just like film, like moviegoers and film enthusiasts and film studies majors and just all of the people, film historians, like because the industry itself is just rooted in white and like was established kind of, especially as we see it and as our creation standards go, like, and as our storytelling standards go, and as our like narrative structures go, it's just all very Eurocentric, I think. Because of that, it's obvious to me, and I think that most black people, but especially black women who are into film and into television, can probably relate to this sentiment. But it's like, it's just so obvious when you see some shit and you're like, oh, yeah, everybody's mad. Obviously, everybody's mad, but they actually, they're like almost refusing to get it. You know what I mean? Like they're almost refusing to get it. Like it feels like they're just being mad because they just don't even know what else to do besides be mad. And I don't know if that makes sense. And no, and I don't know if that makes sense. But it's like, for me, usually like with movies like this, and the same thing applies even because I'm a woman. So when there are movies that have like a female lead engaging in like seriously problematic behavior, immediately when I'm reading the critique, the double standard is immediately obvious. Like it's clear as day as soon as I'm reading like whatever, an article, a letterbox, a Substack about it. Like I'm usually typically pretty quickly able to discern where the person who is writing about it is coming from, and usually that place is rooted in like our general like Eurocentric standards. So I don't know, but that being said, would recommend it, would recommend it. Trigger warning: gun violence. Would recommend it though. Worth a watch if you can handle it. I don't know that I can watch it again because that stuff makes me react viscerally. But I could see it being very popularly for a long periodically time. Like, okay, anyway, I can see it being very popular overseas. That's what I will say. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the drama. And that was honestly like mainly like the main thing I wanted to talk about. So yeah, shout out that. Nothing further on that. Actually, shout out that nothing further on that into other recently viewed, because for some reason, like I guess I'm seeing a lot of tumultuous wedding or like disturbed wedding content lately, but I've been watching also that show Something Very Bad Is Going to Happen, I think it's called, on Netflix with Camilla. I think her name is Camilla. I don't know if it's Camille or if it's Camilla. And Adam DeMarco. And honestly, like, and honestly, like, I might like it more than the drama. But that's because I like dark horror thriller vibes. What I like about this show is that it's like its tone, you go in kind of thinking it's one thing, and then once like some information comes to light, the entire tone of the show changes. And I think it's brilliant. Like, I think it's just so well done. And I think that, like, again, my issue with the critics is that it's just like, yes, like, are the performances initially like pretty sketch? Yeah, I definitely almost turned it off more than one time. Almost didn't come back to it more than one time, but for some reason I kept watching because I like spooky shit. So I was like, well, at the end of the day, like, this is scratching the spooky itch for me. That being said, I think that it it surpassed my first impression and my expectations. I'll say that. It surpassed my first impression and my expectations. And it was very like the way that it goes is just so, and this one I won't spoil because it's kind of like still coming out and like very ongoing and like blase blase blah. Sorry. Me looking to like see someone pulling up out the window and I'm like, hey, I don't know who that is though. But yeah, it was very interesting. It's very interesting. I actually haven't finished it yet. I think I have like 2 episodes left, but I just like when a show can kind of, it's very surprising. And I like when shows surprise me, and I especially like when horror is non-traditional. Like, I love non-traditional horror. I love things that are like not crime, because it's not crime. It's like almost like it touches this, even with Get Out, right? Like it sits on the cusp of like this, like, it's supernatural-ish, but it's also like rooted in reality, but it's also a little like, it's like horror in the sense that somebody is doing something bad or something that they shouldn't be doing, and that's like horrific. But then it like there's just an aspect of like surrealism to it. And like, also the great thing about horror the great thing about horror and why I love it is that it's just so, the thing that makes horror is like the suspense and like is the unknown and is like fear of the unseen, and how that is almost always scarier than the seen. And what I like about this show is that, like, it literally takes, in real time, it literally shows you, okay, like, you have this fear and you're following this like fear of the unseen because things are unseen for a long time. And then like right at the midpoint of the season, there's like it's like a switch, and you get all this information, and then it's like it goes from being scary and like horrific to being horrific for some other reason, and more like psychological and more like, it's just different. Like, the vibe of it is different because you now have enough information that it doesn't make you feel like the heart palpitations the way that typical horror makes you feel heart palpitations. But now you're invested in the story for something else. And now you're kind of like intrigued by something else, you know? So, because now, like, essentially, now that you've like seen the monster or you've seen the source or you've seen the thing, it's not like a dark, shadowy figure anymore. And arguably, like, in a lot of cases, there's, well, no, not in a lot of cases, I guess, because sometimes the shadowy figure makes it worse. Like, knowing what it is you're dealing with does make horror more horrifying, and then sometimes it makes it less horrifying. I think there's an ease in knowing, which is why usually, like, finding out what the shadowy force is, like, brings people like comfort and like solace. But it's not because it's comforting. It's because there's just, now you have like a knowledge and like a familiarity, like, you know, and nothing is obviously as scary as not knowing. So, yeah, another good one. Something very bad is about to happen. Would recommend. I think it's great. I think you'll be, if you're critical of film and television like I am, which I am, sorry. I know I was just talking about the critics. I'm also critical of film and television, as is my God given right. I think when you're critical of film and television like I am, you you can get easily turned off, and like there are some things that are like non-negotiable. Like for me, like a bad performance is not negotiable, right? There are some not great performances. Okay? No shade. No shade. Hey, no shade. But there are just some performances that maybe aren't the best. That's okay. That's okay. That being said, though, just power through. Power through, and I think it'll be worth it because it's actually like really pleasant and surprising, especially for people who like those more campy, like psychological, like thriller, suspense vibes. Like if you like things like Ready or Not or Get Out, or like if you like things like that, I think it's I would stand behind that recommendation. So, yeah, that's on that note, is that all my recently viewed for this week? I guess it doesn't matter because I'll be back probably in a few days, but that's my recently viewed for now. Those are what I'm on. I'm on the drama and Something Very Bad Is About to Happen. Both like disturbed, like tales of fraught wedding, like fraught wedding tales. That seems to be like my theme this week. Okay, weird, but sure, like whatever. Um, but yeah. Anyway, do I have anything else? I don't. It's raining a lot outside. It's like torrential downpour right now, so that's comforting. I'm actually about to turn all this shit off and like lay and watch something because and close my blackout curtains low key. Although I will say I wish I would have walked my dog before it got to be torrentially downpouring. So that's kind of annoying, but it's fine. Anyway, that being said, y'all, like, love you, miss you, and we will talk so soon because we'll talk so soon. And also remember, if you want chill advice, getting it together at gmail.com. So, yeah, submit. I'm going to keep saying it until somebody sends something. But trust, like you guys, the day somebody sends something, I'm going to have the most valuable take, the most valuable opinion, the most valuable take y'all ever heard or seen on this app. Any of these apps. I don't even know what the app is. Spotify, YouTube, Apple, TikTok, Instagram. Like, trust. I'm ready. I'm so ready. I've been training myself to offer psychologically sound, chill advice. So yeah, getting it together at gmail.com. Write me and support a black business. How about that? And yeah, that being said, we'll talk soon. Bye.